Hey there! Welcome to a Creative Hive quick win training video. Today's video is a very special one and one that's very dear to my heart and something I know that a lot of makers struggle with when pricing their products. Watch this video only after you've seen the pricing formula one though. And at this point, you would already have plugged in the numbers for your prices, and the problem is your wholesale and retail price comes out to be way too high. So you might be thinking that you can't possibly charge this much because no one is going to want to buy it. That's what we're going to talk about today. Let's talk about what not to do first. Then we'll cover what you can do to charge your higher prices. What you shouldn't do is treat the pricing formula like a suggestion. As you might be thinking, this final retail price is way too high. I'll just mark up once, so I'll sell my final product to regular customers online at wholesale prices. And the problem with this thinking is what happens if your dream store comes along and asks to sell your products wholesale. Then you'd be scrambling to raise your prices so you can make the deal worthwhile for you. When you increase your prices, you'll put off the store because you basically pull a bait and switch on them. They saw your price was $10 retail, so they're thinking they can get it at $5 wholesale, which by the way is the standard wholesale discount. But you're going to have to tell them that it's $10 wholesale and $20 retail instead. It's just not a great way to start selling wholesale. So I know how scary it is to price at a really high price point, so I know you're probably still trying to think of tons of other solutions or alternatives that you can take. And you might be thinking that you'll never sell wholesale ever. But as I mentioned in the pricing formula video, go watch that if you haven't yet. Mark up your price twice even if you never want to sell wholesale, because you never know what opportunities might come along your way in the future. And those opportunities might line up really well with your goals and your big picture dreams and your life. You really want to do it, and I don't want your prices to hold you back from something like that, okay? Another great thing for marking up twice is even if you never sell wholesale, you'll be profiting twice as much, which means more money in your business and more money as your take-home income. You wouldn't have to sell as many products either. So instead of trying to sell 50 products, you only need to sell 25, which is going to be a lot easier to do if you can position your products the right way, which we'll talk about soon. So first, let's talk about some ways you can cut costs to lower your prices in general. So the first approach is called the $1 cost approach. Don't underestimate the power of the $1 cost. And what I mean here is that if you can cut your materials costs down by even $1, this effectively lowers your wholesale price by $2 and your retail price by $4. You're saving your retail customers $4, and that's nothing to scoff at. So be very diligent with sourcing for the best materials and at the best prices. Be resourceful. I want you to search in Google for what materials you're needing and scour the entire internet until you're like 20 pages down Google for your search. Even when you find a site that looks awful, don't discount that. Because a lot of suppliers that can give you good prices are normally not very great at doing the whole online being an internet business thing. So they may not have a great online presence, but that doesn't mean that they're worth any less. Try the phone book, the yellow pages. Go the old school way. Some amazing suppliers won't even be online, but they'll have a phone number that you can call. Ask your network, join communities where other makers like you are hanging out at, and ask people. And if you want to be extra ballsy, you could even ask other business owners. Most of them won't tell you because they're protective of their suppliers, and for a really good reason, because good suppliers are really hard to find. But you never know, right? If you email 10 artists, one of them might get back to you with a lead. The trick is, I found, is to ask someone who won't see you as a direct competitor. This investigative research work is so worth it for you to do, so please don't discount it. No one really ever even talks about doing this because it doesn't sound very exciting, it's not very sexy, but it makes such a big impact on your business. I mean, it could mean the difference between making $5,000 a year or $100,000 a year. So take the time to do it, okay? Another way you can cut down on costs is by using a different technique that gives you a similar look or end result. Or take the time to practice and hone your skills so you can make your products faster. Don't purposely shoot yourself in the foot by spending 20 hours on a product that should cost only $100 because this isn't a charity. No one is going to pay you for your 20 hours that you spent making it. They're going to pay you for the end product that you made that's going to make their lives better, that's going to make them feel better. So in any way that you can, look to streamline your production process. Make multiples of one design at a time to be more efficient. On the flip side, if you've absolutely searched all over and you can't lower your prices, but they're still really high and you don't believe you can sell them for that much, the first question to ask yourself is, are you creating a product that has low perceived value? So for example, people care more about jewelry than they do hair accessories. So people will pay more money for a design that you make into jewelry than for the same design on a hairpiece. Another great example I have is from my friend and artist, Anthony, and he was making this incredibly detailed bead-woven pen cozy. And basically that's like a sheath, like a cover that you put over a pen. And after pricing it out, he had to charge $200, or I think it was probably more, for that one pen cozy. Now I know there are a lot of stationery addicts out there, but you have to find someone really specific who's willing to shell out $200 on a pen cover when very likely the pen itself was not even that much. So there's just not a lot of perceived value for a pen cozy. So instead of a pen cozy, why not make that same design into a necklace instead? Because people value jewelry so much more and they would not bat an eye spending $200 on a really detailed piece. The next thing you can do, which will take a bit more time but it's going to be so worth it, is with your brand and with how you position yourself in the market. Does your brand reflect your higher prices? Because if it doesn't, then it's like putting West Elm furniture in a dollar store. It just doesn't fit. And the shell that you sell your products in, whether it's your website or your packaging, that is as important as the product itself. You can also position your brand with other more premium brands. So if you've been spending time hanging out with other shop owners that sell their products for half your price, then of course you're going to feel like you'll never sell your products for what it's really worth. A great way to position yourself next to similar price brands is with using PR and getting media mentions. If you can get your product on a product roundup list, for example, and other products that are included are higher end brands, then just by association, you'll automatically be perceived as a premium brand. Or if you can get your products in the hands of a blogger that's known to splurge and only buy the best stuff and the highest quality, then by the power of association, your products will be seen in that same light. Likewise, you need to build credibility and trust with your audience if you want or need to sell at higher prices. Having a strong social media presence, lots of amazing customer feedback, having press mentions, a generous money-back guarantee, great customer service, great website, that's all going to help you increase your brand's perceived value. And ultimately, what you're trying to do here is back up your prices by giving people lots of really great reasons to look at your brand as being a premium brand. Some easier ways you can do this is by writing great product descriptions and using amazing photography. So don't make the mistake of charging $200 for a product and only showing blurry, dark photos or not using all the 5 photo spots in your Etsy listing. And don't make the mistake of only writing 2 lines of copy. Talk about the features and don't ever forget to talk about the benefits. So talk about how your products will make someone feel. This is important because people buy based on feelings and emotions. They don't buy based on logic, which is what the measurements or the materials used on your product is for. So you need to make sure that your presentation is really good if you're needing to charge higher prices, okay? It can definitely be done. My handmade jewelry business, Tiny Hands, is a great example. You can find scented food jewelry made out of polymer clay on Etsy and eBay, and tons of these people sell them for a quarter of my price. But none of them are making as many sales as I am, because they don't have the same branding or positioning or credibility as my brand does. So I may be the most expensive option out there, but that doesn't stop me from making sales. Another real-life example is Tiffany's that sells fine jewelry. They mark their prices up ridiculously, but they're doing really well. So don't be afraid to charge higher prices. You just need a plan for how to back up those prices. Let's wrap up this video with a recap. You learned that the pricing formula is not a suggestion. It's a rule. You learned that there are two ways that you can approach your higher pricing issue. You can look for ways to cut down costs using the $1 cost approach, and you can find better suppliers or by practicing your technique and by getting faster at production. Because the first iteration of a product, the first time that you design it, you're always going to take like 100 hours because of all the research and testing that you need it to do. But then when you make it the second and third and fourth time, it's only going to take like 1 hour. And the second approach is using the premium brand approach, and that is to take all the ways we talked about to back up your prices. Better photos, better copy, better website, great customer service, branding, lots of credibility and trust. Okay? You can do this. There are so many real-life examples of how other businesses have charged way more than their competitors, but still dominate the market, myself included. If you enjoyed this quick win video, be sure to check out all the other great training available in the Creative Hive Colony at www.creativehiveco.com/colony.